that is performed better as a group. So if you take that example of how music is, working together with other people, and you use that to tie it for whatever change, whatever idea you may have, always think of how you can apply that to more people, to your neighbor, to your friend, to get them involved. And then you'll see that when you do things together, it's not so much work, it's actually kind of fun. When you do things alone, it feels like work and nobody else, that. You're not going to want to do it again tomorrow. But when you work together with somebody else, and you see somebody else also succeeding, and they see you succeeding, all of a sudden both of you guys are smiling, and you realize, hey, we just did that, and it wasn't so bad. So remember those things, and thanks again for coming out this afternoon. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you all. Very much work hard with your education. Remember that it takes all of us to be leaders and not just looking for the popular person or the leader that is naturally up in front, but every one of us has to be a leader and a believer in different, to not be in school. But at the same time, they have to fight for their right to ask for more wages. And if they can't do it, by going through the legislation and trying to do it, the way that the Constitution asks them, they're also granted certain rights to strike because their contracts are not being fulfilled. They had to make that plastic bucket. Somebody had to sell you that plastic bucket. Somebody had to bring that to you. And it may seem kind of strange to talk about just a simple plastic bucket, but that one item has a long chain in the economic development of it. Where did it come from? How did it get to Kenya? Some poor guy in China make it, or did some poor guy in India make the thing for me? Who knows? A lot of us don't really think about where the stuff we get.
Is that ever since the time of John the Baptist, the kingdom of God suffers violence, and the violent take it by force. So I ask myself, is the Bible wrong to say the violent take it by force? Then somebody does two proverbs. One says that he who does not see must be made to feel. Another one says that better have 100 sheep led by one lion than have 100 lions led by one sheep. What's your
There was a question earlier about there's different forms of violence. I can hurt you economically by stealing your stuff. That's violence, right? It's an invasion of one's property. It's an invasion of one's safety. So by committing acts that scare people, that have them living in fear, those are acts of violence. If they're not sure what exactly is going to happen tomorrow,
that is violence. So violence is very, very hard to avoid when it comes to fighting oppression. Another example is Nelson Mandela. He's a well-educated leader. Also, for him to have achieved whatever he achieved, at some point he resorted to violence, both physical and also economic. So probably, maybe the physical violence whereby you are hitting a human being directly, probably that will be bad. But for your point to get home, especially when you're fighting oppression that has some political dimension, then you have to put some form of violence.
Which then do in fact, boil down to being a sort of violent act. But again, it's not that you're physically hurting someone. And I think that's the key concept that we have to stick with. I mean, one of the best ways to do it is to have a re-election. Air out what problems the council is having, where they're failing to meet their expectations, and then, open it up to another vote.
The youth, like you, or the children, every day say myself, I am not a violent girl, or it's better that the children write in their exercise book, I am not a violent girl or boy. Because in this way, change this image. And this is the no violence. Of your buttocks until there's a boil on them. Things were done too much in Waumini Assembly. Be it singing, it was done too much. Be it talking, it was done too much. Be it telling stories, it was done too much. Hey! The kind of preaching was in the name of alipita katikati yao, lakini hawakumuona. Alipita katikati yao, lakini hawakumuona. Iposa ndugu yangu, siku ya leo, ukilipa sadaka ya 310 na mtoto wako hajalipa school fees, atapita katikati ya master naye hatamuona. If you wanted Porsche vehicles, you'll find them at the headquarters. If you wanted women who have very bright futures and prosperous past, you'll find them at the headquarters. That was not very violent. That was not good. And they thought, what would be the best non-violent way to get this money from the headquarters down to the local churches? They thought. And so, the musicians and the artists in that very church, in those very local churches, the 1, 2, 3, 4, all the 47 local churches say, hey, we must make noise, we must make a song, and this song must be sung to these pastors and bishops at the headquarters. So they picked the instruments. And behold, they began to make a tune. Mashinani, zije, oya zije, zije, oya zije, sisi tunataka sadaka zetu zije, sisi tunataka, and to all of you who pay taxes, no taxes, all of you who pay tithes and offerings, join me as we sing this song to tell the bishops at the headquarters that we need more sadakas at the local level. Sisi tunataka sadaka zetu zije. Sisi tunataka sadaka zetu zije.
Trace non-violent ways. And I think at the American corner, that is what we can use to advocate for non-violence.